Firstly, I would like to say good morning to everyone and welcome. I'd like to say where are we? Hello, Midigar, good and butter. Friend, it's good to see you. My name's Greg Sims. Everyone knows me as Uncle Greg. Firstly, I would like to acknowledge my Duddock land. I'd like to acknowledge my elders past and present. We don't own the land owns us. We come from Mother Earth. We are the land. Where I come from the Duddock Nation, I come from the Gadigal clan, which is based in Sydney. And there I belong to the Whale people. The other nation I belong to is the Kundungara Nation in the Blue Mountains, and there I belong to the Water Dragon Lizard people. And our nation goes from Katoomba all the way down to Goulburn. And on the south coast I belong to the Yuin people, the Black Duck around Tilba and Wallaga Lake, and north of Tilba around Batemans Bay, Arlagala and Braidwood. I belong to the Butterwang Nation, which is the beach plover. I welcome you here today for the Keeping Koori Kids Smoke Free at the Coolangatta Child and Family Centre. And I'd like to thank the Coolangatta for inviting me once again, because it's pretty quiet here, eh? You know, it's like a place where you can come and heal, you know, without smoking around kids. But anyways, I'm here to give a welcome, and I'd like to thank you for inviting me. Before I do, I'd just like to let you know a little bit more about myself before we continue on. I was born in Sydney. I was born in Crouchwood Women's Hospital back in 1949. I'm a Mother's Day child. I was born 10th of May. And I grew up on the eastern shores of Botany Bay, a place called La Perouse. I grew up on a mission, where I classified that mission as my university campus, who my elders taught me, and taught me well. They taught me to always show respect, always acknowledge, never to be greedy, and always share. And that's how I grew up. And I just like to share those strong values with people, you know, because, you know, growing up, because I grew up with all these old-fashioned values, and I'm sharing that with everyone all over. And there's nothing better than using old-fashioned values, because while you're using old-fashioned values, you'll always use common sense. Now, it's amazing how you can have this day today, because over the weekend I was talking about Monday is a tobacco-free day. You hear it on the news, and that's what they was advertising on telly, you know, it's a tobacco-free day today. So that's pretty good timing for the Coolangatta Centre to have this today. So I'm going to give the welcome, and I'd like to ask my nephew here to blow the dish for me, and while I'm giving the welcome. And but before I do, I just like to share one more story a person was talking about, because this man acknowledged me down in Sydney a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Oh, Uncle," he said, he went pretty well to give him a welcome, and he said what I liked about him was that he talked about his nations, where he's belonging, and it was on that evening was raising money for the law students down at Parliament House, and this auctioneer, you know, he was talking, he was saying how well I spoke and all that sort of stuff. Never heard the language before, and he said on the subject of Aboriginal people, he said I was on my way out to. He said I go out to Alice Springs quite a lot. He said this particular time I took my friend with me, and after we spent some days in Alice, we decided to go north. We must have been on the road for quite a few hours, and we travelled quite a few 100 kilometres. But travelling north, he said, I noticed something. On the left-hand side, there was no mounds like the termite nest. There was none, not one. But on the right-hand side, there was a sea of them, hundreds and thousands of these termite nests, far as the eye could see. And he said to his mate, "Do you notice something out? Do you notice anything?" He said, "What's that?" He said, "There's no termite nest on the left, but they're all on the right." And as they're driving along, they come across this Aboriginal man, and he says, they pulls up and they said, "Oh, would you like some food? Would you like some water?" He said, "I'm right, thank you," because he was on his way into Alice. And this auctioneer said, "Tell me this, how come there's no termite nest on the left-hand side, but they're all on the right-hand side. Hundreds and thousands of these termite nests. He said, why is that? You know what the Aboriginal man told them? He said, because they didn't want to live on that side. Just simple as that. And the way, and how he said it, this man just slumped into his seat. He couldn't ask another question. He just waved to him, just put the ladder like. And as they drove along, he never said another word for 10 minutes. He was dumbfounded the way the Aboriginal man came back to him and told him why he didn't want to live, when he said, oh, I didn't want to live on that side. But anyways, I'm going to give the welcome. But just before I do, I'd just like to say this. When we take our next step, just remember the ones that walked this sacred land before. Tiari Mara, Gara Kapemo, Kawi Maria Pemo, the Gara Riki Bavona, but Naimina Waranang, no DC guy, Doyan the Gamma Garolang, the Gara Riki Tiari, the Gara Riki, the Gami guy, Kuya William Gara Gunagal, Dagunagal. Dala lawi muka kapala nakami. This is lawi ni primi guna gao. Jam ya tiari na gala rigi yori jomana. Mirika gara and bara nini da dara kapemo. Did we go? This is Dara Clans, the land of our ancestors. The spirits who walk among us. Spirits that have been here since the dreaming. An ancient account has been passed down from generation to generation to continue an unbroken culture that has extended for thousands of years. In the language of our people, we welcome you to Dara Clans. Thank you, and have a lovely keeping Koori Kids smoke-free day. Thank you.
Culture, getting involved in dancing, painting, listening to the stories from our elders, and we learn a lot more about ourselves and our identity within the school. So we try and build that belonging within the school community as well. These young ones, again, we do have a bigger dance group, but it is a bit hard when our colours don't bring us, when we're all together. So this dance that we are going to do for you is off Aunt Wendy's CD, and it's red, black and yellow.
Everly Street, got a chance to meet, singing red, black, and yellow.
Yeah, play that for us.
And away we go, away we go, away we go. And away we go, singing red, black, and yellow. Red, black, and yellow.